on the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast, brought to you by Athletico Physical Therapy, proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Big Ten Conference. Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and Iowa Corn Promotion Board. You may think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Shields, we're right there with you in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, and Cedar Falls. University of Iowa Healthcare. Changing medicine, changing lives. This is the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
After starting the season 1-5 against formidable competition in Florida and North Carolina, the Hawkeye women's tennis team has won 5 of its last 6 duels, including an opening Big Ten victory at Indiana. The only loss in that stretch was a 4-3 decision to number 52 Oregon. Coach Sasha Schmid, in her 9th year running the program, led the Hawkeyes to 13 wins last season, including 7 over ranked opponents. The recent successes have had a lot to do with the new indoor tennis recreation center and an expanded number of courts to play on. Coach Sasha Schmid is on the Fight for Iowa podcast next after this brief timeout.
More of the Fight for Iowa podcast after this.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
To anyone passing through our state, fields and fields of corn might be what they see. But the people who call Iowa home know it's so much more. Corn is ethanol, a homegrown, renewable fuel. Corn is delicious pork, beef, poultry, and dairy. Corn is in 4,000 products we rely on every day. So yeah, our highway views are full of corn, and we're proud of it. Because corn grows Iowa. Show your support for Iowa corn farmers at iowacorn.org/fan of corn.
Are aches, pains, or injuries keeping you on the sidelines? At Athletico, our movement experts are here to help you turn your setbacks into comebacks and create a personalized game plan for your recovery. With no prescription or referral needed, Athletico Physical Therapy is where your comeback story begins. Get started today by scheduling a free assessment at athletico.com. Proud partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Now back to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Here's the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
The Iowa women's tennis team competes against a talented Nebraska outfit in a dual meet at noon Sunday in Lincoln. The Cornhuskers are 9-1. Iowa is 6-6 with a very young roster. Diana Hayashida, Barbara Pokorna, and Marissa Schmidt are a combined 21-10 against stiff competition that began in mid-January in the Deep South. I asked Coach Sasha Schmid who and what's been key to the turnaround.
I think really that challenging start. We kind of had a couple great tests and the national scene. And I think, although the team was short to get to 4 points, especially those 3 players had some really outstanding performances. Diana Hayashida ended up going into the national rankings because she had some really quality wins in that early part of our season that I think really elevated her and gave her a lot of confidence. And I think those 3, they're 3 players. They're almost interchangeable at 1, 2, and 3. They've been playing at the top of our lineup and doing a really, really good job for us. And I can see their confidence growing as the season's progressed.
You have a real international flair and makeup to the roster. Now, that's not unusual at all with collegiate tennis, is it?
No, it's really worldwide recruiting. And I feel like, college tennis is something that a lot of the players from Europe have really just loved to understand that they can come to the US and they can continue to play tennis at a high level and continue to get their education. And I think that's been something that's been one of the great recruiting pipelines that really started in tennis a couple years ago and continues to thrive. So we really have to just keep an eye on all countries all over the world to be able to kind of, really have broad-based recruiting. So yeah, Diana is an amazing player. She's from Peru. Marisa is from Germany, and Barbara Pokorno is Czech.
Well, hopefully you get to go on all those recruiting trips. You see some great parts of the world and different countries. And
it is really true. It's
I'm
a
sure
perk.
yes. If you're not a world history fan, I'm a little bit disappointed in you, but I know you are.
Yes.
Back at home, you defeated Iowa State 5-2. You opened the Big Tens with a victory 6-1 at Indiana. Now it's on to 9-1 Nebraska in Lincoln on Sunday. What would you say, Sasha, is the difference in your team mid-January when you first started with Florida Gulf Coast to present day, other than the obvious, well, it was early in the year?
Yeah, and we were just really banged up this fall. We actually had 3 surgeries this fall, so it's been a while for us to kind of get healthy. We're still not quite up to 100%. We hope to be there after spring break, but I really think that just being able to get more reps on court, get the team healthy, and all those really good competitive matches early in the season has really helped. I was really pleased with their effort last weekend in Bloomington. It's always hard when you're on the road and you start conference matches. We had lost Indiana last year, so we were anxious to kind of redeem ourselves. So I was really pleased with them. And Nebraska is always a good team, and they're having a great year, like you said, 9-1. So I know that they're confident, and that'll be a really good test for us this Sunday.
Coach Sasha Schmid, Hawkeye Tennis, with us on this week's Fight for Iowa podcast. You didn't mention a thing about inexperience, and I was looking at your roster to go with those injuries. You have 1 senior, 3 sophomores, a pair of freshmen, and a couple juniors. You have to be excited for the future as well as the present.
Definitely. It's, one of those years where we've only had 1 senior. So those are the types of years where you feel like if we can really make progress this year and then just add 1 more talented player to the roster next year, this is like something that can really build momentum and build confidence. So I am really excited about them. We have been at the last 2 out of the 3 years, our team has been the last team to not make the NCAA tournament. So it's something that we're not really pleased about, but yet on the other hand, we know how close we are. And so this team's really been motivated to kind of get into that last spot in the tournament. It's been heartbreaking to be 1 spot short. But I think that continues to motivate us. And I know that they're so close to getting over that hump. So we really feel like we can do that in March and April and then continue to build on that next season. I think the future's bright.
Well, the future is definitely bright for a lot of reasons where recruiting is concerned. You're in an incredible facility at the University of Iowa now. Tell us about how you've blended in with that and what kids' reaction has been to the fairly new Hawkeye Tennis Center.
It's a huge asset for us. I played at Iowa, and from where we played when I was playing at Iowa to where we are now we've come a long way. And the indoor facility is fantastic. To have 8 indoor courts is really wonderful. A lot of facilities will only have 6, even if they have that. We have great lights, great seating. It's great for the spectators. And then 12 outdoor courts. So a combined 20 court facility here at Iowa, which is just a huge asset for recruiting. And there's never a time when we don't bring a recruit in here and they are really kind of wowed by the beautiful facility. And it's definitely, to our favor when we're dealing with trying to figure out how to convince these recruits that they need to come and play at Iowa.
Coach, as you look at the Big Ten landscape for the rest of the spring, who are the heavyweights in the conference? The usual suspects, I'm sure, to the north and east.
You got it. Michigan is having a great year. They're currently 2nd in the nation. So it's really one of the best seasons that Michigan tennis has had in a long time. And Ohio State this week, I believe, is ranked 8. So we've got 2 teams in the top 10. We're currently sitting around 6th place in the national rankings for the rest of the Big Ten teams. We finished last year 5th in the Big Ten. So we're not too far out from where we want to get, but for us to really be able to move into the top 4 is really where we want to be able to continue to improve. We've obviously got Nebraska this week, and then we come back March 22nd, March 24th, have home matches against Illinois and Northwestern. And those are 2 teams that are going to be great tests for us. We're sitting right around 4, 5, 6 in the Big Ten with them. So those will be that's an important weekend for us.
Well, the temps will be in the 70s, so remember that, Hawk fans. March 22nd and 24th, Illinois and Northwestern back-to-back at the beautiful new tennis facility at the University of Iowa. Coach, let's conclude with a comment about your monthly podcast, Hawkeye Women Rise, that highlights the past, present, and future of Iowa women's athletics. And these narratives search through a lot more than just the competitors' athletic talents. They deal with hurdles and adversity overcome, personal and family lives, revealing so much more about our Hawkeye athletes than you can normally find, correct?
I do. I love these, long conversations that we get to have, and just kind of bringing these stories to light. And we have so much to celebrate within Iowa athletics right now. It's just an incredible time. And the name of the podcast mirrors our Hawkeye Women Rise Capital campaign for fundraising. And really, we're just trying to continue to increase the outreach and increase connections with our Hawkeye community, and so that they understand the pride that they can feel in women's athletics, and then also continue to really support athletics either by attendance. We've set multiple attendance records this season at wrestling and at basketball, and then obviously the financial support of our donors contributing to this capital campaign that actually elevates all of our women's programs at the University of Iowa. So we're so grateful for that, and I'm just happy to kind of play a small part of it. It's a side project, but I definitely love it.
Now, the monthly podcast is recorded live at the Iowa Athletic Club. That's 200 East 9th Street out in Coralville. And the Hawks welcome all fans and supporters of Hawkeye women's athletics to attend and watch Coach Schmid wear her other hat in life as a broadcaster. And I'm guessing you get great crowds out there at the Athletic Club. That's quite the facility out there in the River Landing.
It's such a great spot, really, so grateful for them. They've sponsored the podcast along with the Iowa City Area Sports Commission. They've been just great supporters of Iowa women's athletics. And this is something that's been fun to do in a live audience. We're just trying to follow your steps, Gary.
A reminder, the Hawkeye tennis team returns home to host Illinois on Friday, March 22nd at the Hawkeye Tennis and Recreation Complex with the first serve at 5 p.m. That's the Fight for Iowa podcast this week. We're back again in 7 days with a new edition. Until then, thanks for listening, and go Hawks.
You've been listening to the Fight for Iowa podcast. Hawkeye fans, remember to hit the subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Once you become a Fight for Iowa podcast subscriber, you'll automatically receive the latest episodes of the Fight for Iowa podcast, the Hawkeye Women Rise podcast, Hawk Talk replays, exclusive game content, and more. Until next time, on Iowa, and go Hawks! The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.